Once again, my name is Father Alan Zobler. With both Father Jeff and Father Jeff away, you have to put up with a couple of ales. It was really good news. I just found out it was Father Al's birthday 2 days ago. Happy birthday, Father Al. He is still accepting gifts. He didn't tell me that, but anyway. It's great to be with you. First time to pray here at St. John the 23rd since the new church space has opened. What a beautiful community that gathers here each week. Very edified by the ministry and the many different ways in which church is lived out here at St. John the 23rd. So I teach and live at St. Francis de Sales School, and one of my great hobbies is to run. I love running and staying active. And for last year, for my birthday, I ran a marathon on my birthday in Sydney, Australia. Very blessed. Very blessed. Well, not seeking that. Yeah, I'm weird. That's that guy. Many Australians told me that. Two things from that trip: the Blue Mountains and the Three Sisters. So in Sydney, I have a longtime friend who lives in Sydney, and he drove us to the Blue Mountains. It's a mountain range about an hour north of Sydney. Blue Mountains get their name because the rock formation was constructed millions of years ago, and from the very beginning, from creation, when these were formed, they get their name because of the eucalyptus trees that are planted in these mountain ranges that are in there. The residue, oil from the eucalyptus trees, gets into the air. And that air becomes a hint of blue, a blue haze. So it doesn't look green and it doesn't look natural. There's this blue look to it, thus Blue Mountains. On this Epiphany weekend from Isaiah, we hear this reading. And in Christmas, we're often thinking in these terms. It's been a reflection of mine. Our world is often covered with a blue haze. Our world often has a cloudiness to it that breaks into the lives of us, into our sights as disciples. We get a clouded vision, maybe because of a lot of things, but sometimes it comes to a spiritual life from sin. Blue, cloudy haze comes through. And I saw that on the day that I was there at these Blue Mountains. It was really majestic. It's like a Grand Canyon kind of look and feel to it. There's a marker where Queen Elizabeth had been. She had been to this very place looking at this. It was majestic. But you couldn't help but see this cloud, this tint in the air. And as disciples, we need the Epiphany. We need to be reminded that in the midst of the cloud, it's not just that Christ came, that he broke into this world, that God did the impossible, loving us to become one of us. Then to entrust us as part of the Holy Family to take care of him. That's really a good and lovely responsibility as disciples to be part of that family. Mary and Joseph give us witness. The Christ child shows us how to be vulnerable, to be welcomed and cared for. But then as we as Holy Family members, we're called to take care of each other. But then Epiphany reminds us that it's more about letting that light go out. That it's not just for us. A light to the nations. And any time as a disciple where the blue haze has been kind of in my own experience, I need to let that light pierce it. To break through and remind myself and you, all of us, that Christ's light always permeates. And that if we often place a cloud on others, or around others, for whatever reason, the same light penetrates. Recognition on Epiphany weekend that this light isn't for us alone. And it has transformative grace. It has compassion and mercy. It has wonderful gifts for all. We do well on Epiphany Sunday to remember that, to keep growing the gifts of Christmas. The three sisters. So in the image, the Blue Mountains, to the left of Echo Point, where you're standing, there are these three rock structures. 65,000 years ago, the story is told that there were these Aboriginal tribes that weren't supposed to talk to each other. And three sisters from one of the tribes had fallen in love with three men from the other tribe, and they weren't supposed to talk. And as the story goes, one of the elders protected the three sisters from talking to these men, from falling in love with them, and turned them into stones. And before the elder could reverse the structures and return love into its form, the story goes, the elder died. And the three sisters, the rock formations, remain. And a quick insight there, when gold and frankincense and myrrh from the Magi are brought, these foreigners brought to Christ as the star directed them, how as disciples do we protect gifts and maybe turn them into rock formations instead of developing them and sharing them and giving them away as God gives them to us? Just a reflection to think, how can we develop some gifts in this new year as the continuation of Christmas unfolds? What can we do with the gifts we've been given to say, yep, I've got a lot to give away, and I don't want them to be stagnant, locked in place. That love ought to win in sharing gifts. As the Christmas season unfolds, we're called to make sure that that light of the Epiphany permeates whatever blue haze, blue mountains, that image in our lives as spiritual disciples. And like the Magi, give the very best gifts to our God by sharing them with one another through our efforts. And by the way, you don't have to run a marathon to do any of this. That should be good news. It's okay if you want to. But through our efforts to do just that. May God be blessed.